Does it do that automatically?
Well, see the
Oh, it follows
thing
the
we put
signal?
on, yeah. So that's turned on, which is what,
And it also records?
yeah. Is it comfortable though? You want it closer to you? It doesn't matter to me, but. Just make it comfortable and then I'll start it up. Are you guys ready? Okay.
Okay, so my senior project, I chose to build a calving shed. I chose to build it because I've built a lot of things before. Like I've built like porches. I've built I've just built stuff a lot, and I decided I wanted to try to build a building because I've never done that before. So we had a member of the community come in and ask if we had anyone that wanted to build a shed for her. So I told her I would, and yeah, I started working on the shed. Okay, building the walls. So I started out by measuring and cutting it, shown here, and I went and framed it. And framing is really important because if you don't get the angles or the distances right, your shed's gonna either be crooked, lopsided, or one wall will be too small and one will be too big, and you won't have a good building. Then next we went and we put 2x4s in to help support the wall for studs. Studs are important because if you don't put studs in, building over time will start to warp as it gets moisture or as it gets pushed on. We did a thing where we put a little piece of board on the 2x4s and then screwed it into the big frame. That way that every piece of 2x4 would be the exact same distance into the frame, so then it was a straight wall. And then after you put the studs in, you have to stand the wall up. So we used a piece of 2x4 that went from the floor up to the wall to make a triangle to help hold it in, and we sent screws down into the 6x6 right here. That's a skid so that she can pull the shed along. Here's some more pictures of the walls. This is what it looked like when we framed it all in. And then our next step was to put walls up, is to frame the walls. So we put the wood up, we screwed it on, and all of it fit good. Didn't really have to cut any pieces. They were 8-foot long pieces, and the width was 8 feet by 16 feet. So we got to fit 1 on the front, or on the sides, and then 2 in the back. And then to frame the side of the roof, we put a sheet up, and we took some chalk line and ran it down where the rafters go, so then we could cut along the chalk line and get a good fit. This piece of wood right here is shown where the 2 pieces of wood came together and there was a crack. We didn't want wind to get into the shed, so we put that on there to stop wind from getting in. The next step after building the walls is putting on the roof. So I cut out every piece of rafter that we had to put on. And we took angle so that we could notch out where it fits into the wood on the frame, so we could screw it in and it could get snug tight. And then it was flat on the flat piece of wood so it wouldn't rock. And then after we did that, the next part was putting the plywood on. So we put the plywood on top, make sure everything fit right, and then we put tin on. And when we were cutting the tin, we took a chalk line and we went all the way across, and we took a big saw and cut it. And then put the screws into the tin. They were about 2 inches, and they have a rubber washer, so when you screw it in, there won't be able to have any leaks of water or moisture or anything like that. After that, we had to stain the shed. So the stain, it's like paint, you have to mix it really good. And we figured the best way to put it on was a roller. It'd go on faster and it'd soak in a little better than some other ways to do it. Yeah, so we rolled it on, and hard to reach spots, we used a paintbrush. And we had a tarp laid out right here. You can see it was to catch the stain from getting on the floor, so we didn't ruin the floor. Here's some other pictures. So these notches right here, we had to notch it out so we could fit a 2x4 in to help hold it together and help the sturdiness of it, help hold the walls up. So we had to take a saw and we cut every 2 inches or an inch, and we took a chiseled it out. Right here, this is showing the chisel and the wood that went in it. We had to drill a hole in it so that she could put a cable through and drag it. We used clamps so that when we were cutting the 6x6 pieces of skid, we could cut it in one go and we wouldn't have to measure multiple times. This is what the shed looked like when it was done. It took a lot of work. It's surprising how much work it takes. Thanks for coming. Any questions? My mentor was Donnie.
And did he kind of help you with this, or who